What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are working on this project I'm calling PcS3. Basically, we're trying to stick a PC inside of this PS3 Slim. Basically, we just want to make some use out of this old PS3 shell that we fixed a few weeks ago. We attempted to fix and is not fixable. And I'll stick a card in that corner here. You guys can check that out. I've seen a couple other builds of this while I was doing some research on components for this, and I've seen about 3 or 4 people online that have done this with the original PS3, but I haven't seen anybody do it with the Slim yet, and I think I'm starting to see why. We are very, very height restricted, and I've had some issues with that, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's check out what I've done since I've seen you guys last time. One, I found these technical diagrams for mini ITX motherboards online, and I will, if I can find these again, I'll stick a link down in the description. If not, thank you whoever actually did this. It was on Reddit, and basically it is a 2-scale drawing of a mini ITX board. It also included line drawings and a few other things. So what we did was we made a paper cutout template of a mini ITX board. You can't actually see what's written on here. Basically, I've drawn out in pencil what goes where on the board, and it is to scale. And then we transferred that to a hunk of cardboard. That hunk of cardboard is to scale mini ITX motherboard. But one of the issues I'm running into here is once we get it in here, let me move the camera. One of the issues I'm running into is once we get it in here, there's not a lot of places it can go and still be able to get a graphics card in here. Basically, if we stick with the stock graphics for any of the Intel CPUs, it's not really be able to play any games or anything, and that kind of sucks. So what I've done also is I have a donor 750 Ti. My dad upgraded his video card and his workstation, so he offloaded his old 750 on me, which I don't really have a use for. I've got better video cards than my actual PCs, so it's open for this project. Yay. Anyway, it's also, thankfully, the mini ITX version. I think that's just by coincidence, but that does make it easier to fit here. So what I've done to it so far is I've removed the I/O shield from it, so we can get it in here a lot easier to test fit. And basically what we're doing is wherever the motherboard ends up, we're going to be taking a PCI riser cable that plugs in the PCI slot and then run that to the card. And this is one of the low power models that doesn't have the power ports on it. So it's not going to use 175 watts. So we can just run it off the PCI slot, not to worry about having extra power on the power supply, which is another thing I haven't done my research on yet. I'm looking at probably I think it's Thin FX or something. Okay, so I can't remember the name of the format that it's in, but when we actually get to that point, I'll make sure to make a note of it. I think it's like TFX or something, but basically it's a 1U server power supply, and it has all the plugins we need to make this work. And it's also, I think, like 40 millimeters high and like the same width as the motherboard. So it's probably back here in the back somewhere, and our cable's out from it. I do still have the original power plug here, which is this guy. So what I'd like to do is leave this in place and then just run a cable back to the power supply, and then from there we can break power out. That's been problematic so far, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. Another thing we've done is started pulling off some of the posts down here that are just in the way to try and even troubleshoot this. We've marked with my grease pencil all of the holes that the case screws come in on, so that we know not to take those out, because those are the ones that attach the lid to keep the whole thing together. So that's one thing I'm going to show you guys how to do today, is how to actually get these posts out easily. It's not rocket science, but it's something that's not terribly obvious either. And if you haven't done it before, you might try some other methods that aren't going to work, and that can be a bit of a pain. The other thing we're going to do today is try and figure out exactly where these things need to go. The other problem I'm running into with getting test fits is this is two-dimensional. It is the right thickness for a motherboard, but we have to take into account the CPU cooler height. The original cooler I was looking at was the Cryorig C7. It's 47 millimeters thick and is a pretty good cooler. It is the same size as the stock cooler, but it's shorter and it does a heck of a lot better job cooling. So to test that, I took these two case fans. They're 92 millimeters, so the same width, the same square size as the CPU socket, and basically just sat the two on top of each other. And even at the lowest point, that's too thick to go in the case. There's not enough height clearance for that to work. There's only two other coolers I've seen that are smaller than that that'll do any kind of cooling performance that'll fit on a mini ITX board. One of them is the new Thermaltake 35 something or other. I'll try and find a notation for that and add it in here. The second one is a Noctua. It's meant for one-use servers. It is a Noctua like NL9i, and it's 37 mils thick from the board. So what we're gonna do today is use this motherboard and basically mount this fan at 37 mil height from the board. So that's gonna be a little complicated to do, but we need to do that to get these test fits accurate, to get a third dimension to this, because basically what we're trying to do is get this guy in here so the I/O will come out the back of the PS3 without interfering with the power jack, and that's got to fit in here somehow and not interfere with the screws, so we can actually shut the case. And then we'll be taking a riser card, hooking it up to the graphics card, and then feeding the graphics card out something like that. That comes out the back here. So it's really crucial on our motherboard choice of where the CPU socket is. Mini ITX is not as standardized of a socket as like ATX or micro ATX. And if you look at the different manufacturers, the CPU socket moves around a lot. On the MSI boards, like they move it way over here towards the PCI slot, so that you have all of your I/O on the top and power on the top, so everything comes in from the normal case and plugs into the top. So it's cable management that is not good here, because we need lots of room to work with here. So two of the ideas I've had is, one, we mount the motherboard over here, elevated, so we can use this power jack, or we remove the power jack and put it flat, either way, but over here. And then we have a lot of room over here for the video card, as long as it clears the CPU socket. But with it being that high, we're also running the I/O. I don't know how well that's going to work. Again, going to depend really heavily on motherboard selection, which I haven't gotten to yet. The components are pretty pricey, so I just haven't gotten there yet. So what I'm thinking right this second is, so one, we're using this hard drive sled, which is this guy here. Basically what we're going to try and do is what we're going to do, these rails here hold the hard drive, and these screws attached to the case to hold it in place. And then this screw here is where the threaded screw comes in from the bottom to secure it in place. So basically what we're going to do is cut here, here, and then all of this backside off. And what that's going to let us do is take this little hard drive caddy basically out, put it here, and use the original hard drive sled in this machine. So I want to do that, and that's going to make things more complicated. But at the same time, there's nowhere else to put a hard drive once we've got everything else in here. So having somewhere designated for it to go already is great. So anyway, that's what we're trying to figure out, long story short. And Right now, we're going to make a mock-up of the cooler so that we can have accurate testing of our height clearances there, because that will be the tallest component on the motherboard. So we use low profile RAM, it'll be somewhere in the like 30 mil high range. It's not terribly tall, so that's not a problem. So to do that, what I've come up with is we're going to use these same fans, one of them that I had from my personal laptop that I tore down in the first video of the series, which if you haven't watched the first video, you probably ought to. I'll throw a card in the corner here. Pretty important saying what we're actually doing. We also figured out that my original plan for that didn't work at all, and that was very disappointing, but such is life. So what we're going to do is I have a basic mark of where the cooler goes, which is just dead center on the board. Most of them are offset a bit more, but so basically what we're going to do here is just set this flat, hold it super tight. I'm just going to stab some holes in the cardboard where these holes need to go. A mock-up square where these things need to go. And then we're going to take some machine screws and make little platforms coming up for the fan to sit on, and then we'll set the fan to the exact height that we need, which is 37 in this case. Once we get through the board, we'll be just shy of 37 millimeter. Also, I realize a flaw in my methodology here. My ruler doesn't end at 0. There's a little nub at the end beyond 0. So that's stupid. So I can't just drop the ruler in place and go. I guess I could measure how long that is and then take it off and then redraw the line. Alright, so through the bottom, back over, and then let's screws on here. So this will make it a good bit straighter, I think, because this slide should be going through both holes instead of just one. So that's kind of cool. I don't know that we'll be able to fasten it, which kind of sucks, but yeah, we can. I'll show you how to do that. It's going to be complicated, but we'll still be able to do that. Basically how we're going to do that is we're going to go through the first hole, get the second nut on here, get the second nut on here, and down as far as it'll go. Well, not as far as it'll go, but get it down a little ways so we can still get up to that top one. This is extremely difficult to do when you have hands as large as mine. Alright, so we've got our cooler up here. Cooler. We need to figure out how high this is. So these screws are 38 mils, so obviously this is going to need to go down a lot. Alright, so now we just adjust this to height, and we have a good mock-up. So let's fix this measurement. So that's 3 millimeters deep. So we need to cut off 3 mils and go to 34 millimeters. Draw that line. $37 on the nose. Yeah. Alright, so now we can just drop the ruler down and do some measurements. So, a little short. We come up to about there. That's our rough mock-up. So basically, that's going to let us see how high we can go and still get this lid on. So like if we stick this guy on top of the power socket here. Okay, So we're gonna see if we get the lid on. If we put it on top like that, which is one of our options. And that's a close, but no. So there are still some things on the top here that we need to take off. Let's go ahead and knock those out. I'll show you how to do that, or how I'm doing that. I need pliers. Basically, one of the easiest ways to do this, take some pliers. I would rather have my big needle nose than these, but I don't know where I put them. Yeah, no idea where I put them, because I need to clean up. I don't have done it yet. So basically what you want to do is take what you want to take off, go over with the pliers directly, squeeze it real tight, and then do a small twist in each direction these pliers suck. There's two ways. You can either rock it or twist it. Rocking works very well, but you saw how much that flexed when I did that. If you're not careful, you can actually break the entire plastic off. So I don't like doing that, but it works sometimes. On smaller pieces like this, it doesn't work. You have to actually get the pliers in there and twist it. The other option, which I have seen people use, is take a knife and cut it off. I do not like doing that. I have done that. It is not fun. You have a really big chance of cutting your hands open, which I have also done. You guys even see what I'm doing? Alright, so one of the other ways to do this is to grab it by the inside and break it over. And then once you've got that, you can actually break off each side individually. Up. Down. Okay, so here. Okay. So basically you can grab with these hollow ones, it's basically just 4 walls of plastic, so you can break in one wall, and then once you're inside, twist off the other individual walls, and that works pretty well too. You can go in and clean these up with a knife, but I'm not gonna do that right now. This structural brace probably needs to come out too, but we'll probably worry about that later. We're just gonna take out these little pegs that stick down for now, and then if we don't have to take the structural braces out, we won't, because it's basically prying the width of their pliers the entire way down the line, and it's a pain. I won't do it right now. So with those out of the way, let's see if it still doesn't fit. Okay. Down. It may or may not fit. I can actually see in there. So we got down this far, but I can't see inside to see what we're hitting on. So we are hitting on those lateral braces up there, but I think more than that. Oh, no, it doesn't. And I'll show you why. Can't see it right now, but you will very shortly. So, pulling this back off, it's like, oh yeah, it totally fit. CPU cooler was against the roof, but it fit. But it pushed the screws through until it fit. So that did not work. I guess we should have added screws down here at the bottom also, or nuts down the bottom also. But we didn't. So going that high, 100% will not work. What about down here above the hard drive? We're gonna have to get something to tape those up now because I don't have the patience to go redo that. Be right back. My adventure to find tape took me to the kitchen where I found coffee. We also found Sharpie, which should be in here. My coffee got angry. We also found another pair of pliers, which will make ripping these channels out a lot easier. And the only tape I could find this early in the morning, latchkey prep tape. I probably have some electrical tape in the bedroom, but Lady Buck is still asleep, and I didn't want to wake her up because we don't have the squish today, and occasions of sleeping are rare, so let her enjoy it. And it's probably not strong enough if it actually forces its way through, but it will keep it from just flat falling out. I guess what we could do is make a little X on each of these. Just make it a little bit stronger, but this tape isn't the strongest tape in the world. I'm actually not sure what the strongest tape in the world is. If any of you guys know, leave it down in the comments. I'm a big fan of duct tape. The Duck brand especially is very, very strong. I did see that Gorilla Company, the company that makes Gorilla Glue, now has a tape. Haven't used it yet. If any of you guys have, let me know how it works. It's pretty pricey, so too pricey for me to just buy and try. So if you guys have actually tried it and it works pretty well, let me know. I might pick up a roll and, I don't know, tape something. Maybe I could tape me taping things. See how many dad jokes I can fit in one video. Alright, so let's try our second configuration, which is that height. We can come over a little bit. And we're okay cutting out this IO. This IO does not need to stay here. We can cut that out if we need to. This plastic bit here, I would like to leave it as stock looking as possible, but if we have to take it out, we have to take it out. Should we go ahead and take the drive cage and get it in here? Sure. Alright, so to make this prototype a little bit easier, we're just going to go ahead and cut this square out here. This is pretty thin sheet steel, so we're just going to aviation snip it. And one of the keys here is we don't want to warp it. So what we're going to do is kind of find the flattest spots and cut those. Make it a little bit easier. And then once we've got it cut up, we can go through and trim it down a little smaller. Basically, when you're cutting warped areas like this, you want to cut the flat first, and then as it angles, cut the angle, and then as it angles back up, continue. And it's still going to warp, but you also can do back cuts like here to help you get the snips in there a little better on the pieces that you're not keeping. Also, make sure you throw these things away. My cat got a hold of one of these last time we were cutting metal, and I stepped on it like 3 weeks after the project was over. No idea where it came from. So keep up with your scraps. For your cat's will. And then straight over here and off. And like I said, we'll clean this up later. We just need this main assembly for the hard drive to get into. That fits. Let's see if it's long enough to get through the case once we get it in here. I know that's not the right one, but it fits, so it might be the new one. So, little bitties on top. I guess I probably should have kept that screw hole. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how small these mounting screws were. This is not going to be very secure up here. We do still have most of a hole back here, so we actually can make use of that. We're going to try and salvage this hole that I just cut through because I didn't realize I actually needed it. I guess we're just going to take this whole assembly and kind of undo the bending. That should get it close enough. But I can push it flat here. And that should be enough to get a screw in. Cool. That'll give us 3 mounting points for this cage, which should be enough to keep it from flopping around. Maybe that one. They wouldn't put a thread this fine in a hole like that. Or maybe this is exactly the right screw. What do you know? Alright. And we have a hard drive sled mount. I still probably will come through and clean this edge off here. and go like up, over, and minimize the amount of area we have there. But basically slide in there, locks in nicely, and we have a hole in the bottom that our good friends at Sony made here for us. And yeah, I think this screw will work just fine there. I think we're just going to go ahead and secure this in so we don't have to worry about keeping up the hard drive again, since the cage itself is installed. I like it. Alright, so now we're going to go back to test stage here. That does actually put our motherboard in a bit of a bad situation here. Let's get this test fit in, and then we can go from there. Doesn't work at all. We are missing it by that much, guys. Take a look and see what we're missing it by. So those rails are hitting there. We can try taking those rails out, but I think that's still gonna be too close to actually run a fan on. So we're hitting on these rails here. So let's go through and pull those rails out, and I'll show you how to do that. Basically, take our new big pliers we found, and you grab the very end of it, give a little twist, it'll break off. Break off. And one of the keys here is to keep your pliers flush against the base. The more flush you can keep this, the cleaner it'll be. Come off the sides here. And you don't have to try and get it all at once, just little sections at a time is plenty. If you do it right, you get a nice clean line of rail pulled off. Nice and clean. You see it? And we're just going to do that for all of the rails on this side. I want to try and leave some of these in place if we have to, if we can, because it does add some structural integrity to it. But it's going to be a showpiece on my desk hooked up to a monitor for use in the lab. What should I call this workspace, guys? Because like this is not actually a lab, it's not an office, not a workshop, it's just a second bedroom in my apartment where I do all this stuff. I don't know what to call it. Studio, lab, workroom. I don't know. I'm gonna put a poll up here in the corner. You guys vote on what you think I should call this, and then I will attempt to remember that going forward. And then we can have some fun with it. You guys can help me out here. We can figure it out together. So now we've got, I would say, a nice flat surface, but it's curved. We've got a narrower surface. Deeper? Huh. Oh, coffee! No, don't spill the coffee. No, not my coffee. Oh, my coffee. Oh, I'm so sorry. Coffee is my friend. I have to make sure I keep that Seattle-based coffee company logo off of the screen. I don't know that I actually need to keep brand names off of the channel, but a lot of news places do it. Not because I wouldn't want them to be associated with me, but I'm assuming that they don't want to be associated with me. What kind of marketing would that be? Drink coffee, do stupid stuff. Which, I'm okay with using that as a motto. That sounds like a great motto for my channel. Still just a smidge shy. And that is cooler clearance. Damn. I'm gonna try and get in here so you guys can see it without knocking everything out. In the hole. Over here. Can you see in there? Yeah, see, we are touching the lid with the cooler. On the back it's fine. Over there it's fine, but with this height, unless we go all the way flat, we're hitting the lid pulled forward there. So, what do we do? I think what we probably need to do is move this off and go here and flat. And I think that'll give us enough clearance height-wise to get in there. And then GPU over here. When we get down flat there, if we trim that hard drive cage more, we might be able to get flat there. But then that leaves us a completely new problem of how are we getting power in? For that I say, I don't know. This is proving to be significantly more difficult than I had set out for it to be. So I'm not sure what to do here. One of the other things I was considering was going like here. I don't know if that'll fit with the hard drive cage or not, so I'm going to cut power off of that too. Cut the power section out, drop it flat there, and do like video card back here. And then route the HDMI to the front. I feel like all these videos are just, here's what I'm trying, and it doesn't work. And that's sad, because I want to actually have a finished product for you guys, and we're getting stubborn. That's still so close. That won't work because you have RAM slots. This RAM will stick up off the board, and they're almost always on this edge here. Oh, jeez. Every time I think we're getting close, I find another problem. I don't know, guys. I'm running out of tape. Tape feels so old. I'm running out of drive space, so I'm gonna cut this one off. If you guys have any suggestions of what to do, I'd love to hear them. I am at the point of this is probably not going to work no matter what I do. So I will fiddle with it some more and come back in another video and let you know how that actually turns out, if we scrap the project or not. Anyway, that's going to wrap this video up. If I do find a way to make this work before I get this edited, I'll record that and throw it in the end of the video here. But if this is the end of the video, then you know that didn't happen. So anyway, hit that like button, get subscribed. A lot of cool stuff on the way. I have another project that we can start on after I get my desk cleared off of this, because if this isn't going to work, I'm just gonna put this entire shell and entire project on a back burner, and we'll work on something else. The next big project I have is the old iMac shell from my blog. We're going to be gutting an old laptop, pulling the screen out of it, mounting the screen in the old iMac. We're going to be putting some sort of computer system inside of that. So we may still stick with the mini ITX plan. That would actually probably be the easiest way to do it. I still haven't rehomed my laptop from the first teardown video here. It's just kind of chilling up there on my bench. Hey laptop. Hello everybody. So there's that. We could also build a new custom enclosure for that laptop shell, which I've been meaning to do for quite a while now. Basically, the plan there is buy a sheet of plastic, mount the board to it, and then make use of this cool acrylic shield that I put over it. So maybe we'll see that. Anyway, that's gonna do it for now. I'll see you in the next one.